How's it going, everybody? Welcome to the next episode of the best podcast on turf. I'm Matt, joined by my brother, like always. How's it going, man?
It's going good. Happy to be here. Been a little bit. Lots to talk about.
Yes, no, and just jumping right into it because it has been a little bit. Let's get right into the end of last season. You know, the 2024 season has officially wrapped up. We talked about it so much before the season happened, during the season. I mean, it was a crazy season for sure, but also one that kind of was expected. Although I don't think a lot of people would have said the Eagles would have won the Super Bowl at the beginning of last season. There was a lot of question marks. But before we jump into the Super Bowl, how did you feel about the championship games?
Yeah, a lot to talk about. The championship games were interesting because they were a little bit different from the NFC standpoint and the AFC standpoint. You have the NFC, you have the Eagles and the Commanders, two teams that some people thought may not have been there, and then you have the Chiefs and the Bills, the two best teams that everyone was predicting was going to be there. So starting with the Eagles and the Commanders, all I'm going to say is the Commanders were the team that burned me all year. They took out my Buccaneers. I was excited, big Baker Mayfield fan. Then we get to the Lions. Love to see them get their first Super Bowl. Love Jared Goff. Love Dan Campbell. Nope. Commanders beat them. It's like, all right, let's just take the Commanders all the way then. Nope. Eagles beat them up pretty good. So the funny thing is, too, with this, the different viewpoints of these two divisions, the Commanders lose, and it's one heck of a season. Rookie quarterback, new head coach, team is only moving in the right direction. Bills get to the same exact point, but it's a failure of a season, and a Bills fan would tell you very quickly, we wanted to get to the Super Bowl and win it. And so the interesting viewpoints from every team is interesting.
Yeah,
but
for sure.
The Eagles-Commanders game, the only thing I'm going to say is the Commanders came in as like a 6-foot, 175-pound fighter fighting a 6'8", 280-pound fighter. And it was like a couple jabs thrown by the Commanders. They take that long drive. They convert a couple fourth downs, burn like 8 minutes to get a field goal. And then the 6'8", 280-pound monster takes a 61-yard
such a good play. I'll
gap
never
up
forget
the
that.
gap up the scene. Saquon Barkley, first play on the offense for the Eagles, and you could just tell it was a different game. The Commanders would keep fighting back, but the Eagles were just clearly the better team. So I guess we can talk about the Eagles Commanders first.
Yeah, no, definitely. That's kind of where we're starting here. Yeah, no, Eagles Commanders. I mean, the Lions Commanders, that game, the Lions would have won if they weren't injured on defense. That's what that really came down to, in my opinion. Is all season they kept winning, even though these injuries kept piling up and piling up and piling up, and everyone's kind of watching like, all right, is it going to sustain success? Like, can we please keep it going? Like, come on, we want to see the Lions make it to the Super Bowl, and you just can't sustain that success when you've lost Aiden Hutchinson and so many pieces on defense. And that's just so difficult. And the Commanders were just able to run through them, throw the ball against them. Terry McLaurin had a great day. Jaden Daniels he's so good. He is so good. His deep ball, I got to go look at some of the other quarterbacks this year. That was the best deep ball I saw. Every time that thing went up in the air, it was just, oh my God, they caught it. Oh my God, wait, it was right in the bucket. Holy crap. Every single time. And it just was a shocking thing for a rookie quarterback to see, because the amount of times I saw Mac Jones flail that thing, and I'm like, here we go. Oh, no, never mind. Mac missed it. So it was such a cool thing to see. And the Eagles going now to the NFC Championship game. We now kind of all need to be slightly quiet about Nick Sirianni, don't we?
And Jalen Hurts. Yeah, I was going to say this talking point for the Super Bowl conversation, but yeah, we can do it now.
But even so, that Commanders team was incredible against the Lions, and they were incredible against the Buccaneers, and that Commanders defense wasn't solid, but the fact that the Eagles were still able to score that many points against them, I think really shows that the Eagles were the best team in the NFC. I do not think the only other team, in my opinion, in the NFC that was going to make it were the Rams. And the Rams came like less than a score away from making it to the NFC Championship game. So I just think the Eagles honestly came into that season as the bully. They came into those playoffs as the bully. You did not want to go play your playoff game in Philadelphia, and sadly the Commanders just had to. So that's difficult. The run game for the Eagles is so good. The defense for the Eagles is so good. The offensive line is so good. That is just a juggernaut of a team that none of us gave enough credit in the regular season. And then the second the playoffs hit, it was like, oh, nope, this is an insanely talented football team, and Harry Roseman just has done it again.
Yeah, I'm going to save all my Eagle talking points for the Super Bowl. Just quickly jumping to the Bills-Chiefs game for me. Probably my game of the year. The Bills Chiefs, when you get to watch them play in the playoffs, it's just so similar to Peyton Manning and Tom Brady on the Colts and the Patriots. It's just like the anticipation is there. My favorite football games are when you wake up on a Sunday morning and there's like a little bit of a pit in your stomach because you're so excited for the game. And that's just how I felt about that game. And as like a pseudo Bills fan, and I got my Josh Allen cup here, so you can appreciate this. Thank you, my fiance, for my Christmas gift. I just was so excited for the Bills. I felt like they were the better team. I felt like they had all the momentum going into that game. They just beat Lamar and the Ravens, who, by the way, Lamar could have been the MVP very easily. He had another impressive season, and I don't ever want to take anything away from Lamar Jackson. But the Chiefs just came out on top, and all I'm going to say about the game, and Josh Allen got the ball at 3 minutes, down by 5, could go get a touchdown to win the game, and they couldn't do it. And give it to Steve Spagnuolo and his defensive calls, those exotic blitzes he holds until the end of the game. It's like a card game for the Chiefs, man. They hold these cards until the last play when they know it's important. And I think Joe Brady, the offensive coordinator for the Bills, lost a little bit of his momentum there with the run game. James Cook was moving the ball well, and then they just abandoned it out of nowhere. So there's some lessons learned for the Bills. But the season, in my opinion, was still successful for the Bills, losing all the pieces they lost, drafting pretty well, having some defensive guys step up, having some offensive guys like Khalil Shakir, who signed an extension, by the way.
Yes, he did. Yeah.
Amazing receiver. Coleman, the rookie, started off hot. Injury never really came back, so he'll have some growth.
Yep.
But I think the Bills still had a successful season, but it was a great game. It was just a good game. And my favorite part of the whole thing, just a little story between me and my brother, we watched the game together, video call.
I was going to bring this up. I was very sick.
Yeah, Matt's sick. We're both really rooting for the Bills. The Patriots banner behind Matthew. He's a Patriots fan, but
I was rooting for the Bills. I didn't want the Chiefs to win. I don't like the Bills, but I like Josh Allen.
Yeah, and so we're watching, we're rooting, and then they lose. And I don't think me and Matthew, we must have shared maybe one word for the next 3 weeks.
Yeah,
really, we hung up together, and like I was pissed, and I tell my fiance, I'm like, I'm so happy Matthew was as upset as I was at the result of this game. But it's what makes football just the best sport in the world. So
no, I agree with you completely. And yeah, you mentioned, you were like, it's funny that the Bills made the AFC Championship game and lost, and it's considered a failure, but the Commanders made the NFC Championship game and lost, and it's a huge success. And I'd agree with you, but also the Bills going into this season had a lot of question marks. It's funny now we're at a point where we can kind of very easily say, oh yeah, that Bills team was pretty solid. We didn't know that going into the season. They had lost a lot of pieces, and there was a lot of unknown players who stepped up that, I'm going to be completely honest, I don't know the names of all of them right now off the top of my head because it was like such random people. It's like, wait, who's their cornerback right now? Khalil Shakir is their number one wide receiver. Who is that again? So it was cool to see that for sure. But I mean, yeah, I just think Josh Allen deserves a Super Bowl. But also at the same time, like you said, that 3 minutes, he had to go down and get the ball. Do you deserve a Super Bowl if you can't do it? You know, I love Josh Allen so much, but is there a change that needs to happen in Buffalo for them to get over the hump? Or do you think they'll eventually do it? Is it McDermott? Is it something like that? Or do you think they'll eventually do it? What's your thought?
I think they'll do it. I like McDermott. I think he's consistent enough. I think they just have to get this bugaboo off of him when it comes to the Chiefs in the playoffs. And, the Bills are winning these meaningless games against the Chiefs in the regular season, but then when the playoffs come, the Chiefs own them.
Yeah.
And I think just a little maturity from the players, some of the younger guys.
Yeah.
And the reason I think the Bills are going to be good too is the offensive line. Really underrated, but great in the run game and pretty good in the pass game too. Now, it's good in the pass game because Josh Allen is scrambling like a maniac, getting first downs, touchdowns when there's nothing there. So that inherently makes the O-line look better, but they hold up. So I think the Bills are in the right direction. They're in a better cap situation this year. I think they'll build on where they were last year. And Josh Allen, the thing about him, I think out of, Lamar, Burrow, Mahomes, Allen, and I'm going to say Hurts now as these top 5 guys, Josh Allen to me has like the best personality. I think he has the best attitude, the best leadership skills. When he takes losses with grace, he always puts everything on his shoulders. And, you can say the same thing about Patrick Mahomes, but I clearly remember a game, Patrick Mahomes going up to Josh Allen after losing a regular and being an absolute crybaby about it. Burrow pouted his way through this season, the whole thing. He was mad when they were winning by 20.
I'd say Hurts is the only one who's might be potentially a better leader, but I actually agree. But
quieter. Josh Allen is very vocal, which I like. So either way, I think they will stay the course and always be
Yeah.
competitive. Will they have some down years? Sure. Will they have some years where maybe they get to the Super Bowl? I would bet on it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you know what my thing is, and I don't love Sean McDermott just because he's the Bills head coach, but I have really nothing against Sean McDermott. And if you look at like someone like Eberflus, look at Eberflus, you can clearly see coaching problems they're doing during the game that's losing them games with the Bears. You have to get rid of that. You can't really see that with McDermott. It's not like there's this one play where they screwed up so horribly and all this stuff. No, it's really not the case. The Chiefs are just a great defense. They have a great run game going, and Pat Mahomes is just safe with the ball. In the AFC Championship game, at least.
Well, so now let's
yeah.
transition. We see the Chiefs beat the Bills, so now we go into the Super Bowl. And going into the Super Bowl, my thought truly was, and I'm proud to say I was right about this. I really thought the Eagles had the edge. I felt like the Eagles had better trenches on both sides, so better defensive line, better offensive line. And I felt like the Eagles weren't going to fall into this trap that some newly minted Super Bowl teams fall into. They were at the Super Bowl 2 years ago. They know this process. Like, they know how to handle the 2 weeks off. They know how to handle the media, how to handle preparation. They have some veterans in there. Sirianni is still there. So I felt like the Eagles were going to come in and have a good game plan against the Chiefs. Now, did I expect what happened to happen?
No.
I'll let you go first, though, and then I'll say what it is.
There's three names. There's three names I just want to say real quick, and it's why Howie Roseman is the best general manager in the NFL.
It's not close.
Quinyon Mitchell, Cooper Najin, and Zach Bond. Those three. Such underrated pickups. Two of them being rookies, one of them being a free agent from the Broncos who just never was able to find success on that team. I mean, incredible pickups. And the Cooper Najin pick 6 in the Super Bowl, I just have to talk about that first. That was the play of the year, in my opinion. That was the best play I saw all year. I'd never been so excited about a play in my life. That was so awesome to see. And just a quick little background, because we had talked about this when we had first started this podcast. I went to college in Philadelphia, and my college did not have any sort of sports team. And speaking about football, we had a really good basketball team, but we did not have any football team. So my football team was kind of the Eagles, and my school was right in the center of Philadelphia. So I have a soft spot for the Eagles. Although I'm a Patriots fan, I got a soft spot. So I was really rooting for them to win this game. And yes, I did not expect them to win in that fashion. I mean, it was just awesome to see.
I have one more name to add to the list.
Oh, you have one more name to add?
Vic Fangio. Defensive coordinator of the Philadelphia Eagles. He's been a defensive coordinator for years.
Yep.
He's been a very good one, but old school style defensive coordinator, runs a tight ship, disciplined. You're going to wear pads and tackle in practice. And he left the Dolphins with a very bad taste in the mouth of both Vic Fangio and the team of the Dolphins, feeling like he was a little too harsh and, wasn't really connecting with this new breed of NFL player. Put him in the Philadelphia Eagles with a motivating head coach like Nick Sirianni.
Yeah.
I mean, Vic Fangio, he stole the show, in my opinion. His defense, the offense obviously
played great.
For the Eagles had some high points. I mean, this Super Bowl, truly, just taking a step back, there's no reason to talk about the Chiefs. They didn't do anything.
Yeah.
Offense or defense. The only thing the Chiefs did was they got one interception at the beginning of the game. It was a bad play by Jalen Hurts. It's one of the reasons some people don't love Jalen Hurts. He hasn't always been the most accurate thrower or decision maker in the pocket as a quarterback. But other than that, nothing.
The one thing I will say about the Chiefs, I just read this morning, because I actually didn't hear about this till now. But
I don't know how to talk about him.
Xavier Worthy has broke the record for the most amount of receiving yards and touchdown for a rookie in the Super Bowl. He had like 157 yards and 2 touchdowns. Now it's just so funny. If you tell like a Chiefs player, any one of them, you go, oh hey, your rookie wide receiver is going to go for over 200 yards and 2 touchdowns, and you're going to hold Saquon Barkley to like 2 point something or 3 yards a run. And you're like, oh my God, we're going to win. Guys, we just won the Super Bowl. No. I just didn't expect what happened to happen.
Great point. And so this was really the conversation going into the Super Bowl was Saquon Barkley drives the Eagles offense this year. Steve Spagnuolo, the defensive coordinator of the Chiefs, knew that. And so we get to the Super Bowl, and it's like, okay, if they can stop Barkley, the Chiefs should win the game. And Jalen Hurts was like, no.
I got it.
No.
I got it, guys.
No. And a Giants fan, you can see the flag right up there. Still love the Giants. Don't love the Eagles. But I cannot deny it anymore. I would take Jalen Hurts over Lamar Jackson. I would take Jalen Hurts over Justin Herbert. I would take Jalen Hurts over Matthew Stafford. Jalen Hurts to me is the fourth best quarterback. The only three I'd take over him are Burrow, Mahomes, and Allen. And then it's Hurts. Hurts is my number four. That is a Super Bowl champion quarterback, been to 2 Super Bowls in the past 4 years. And you could say, okay, the defense made a lot of plays. What about that throw to Devontae Smith in the second half? The dagger play, man. That's one of the most beautiful throws I've ever seen in my life. Jalen Hurts, mad respect.
Yeah.
And yeah.
No. I should completely agree. That the Cooper Najee interception to then right after the half getting that Devontae Smith touchdown. I mean, that was when I was like, all right, yeah, I feel safe now. Now it's still the Chiefs. I was nervous, but I'm like, I feel safe. I feel good about this. And it's just that team is so loaded. I mean, and let's you know what we need to talk about? We got to talk about Nick Sirianni, because truthfully, both of us kind of fell into the category of giving Jalen Hurts like that number 6 quarterback spot, number 7. He's good. He's really good, but he's elevated by his team, and that's just the truth. We now know that is not the truth. We now know Jalen Hurts he elevates that team to a certain extent. But Nick Sirianni is a very good NFL head coach. And now I, as a slight Eagles fan, I don't outright hate Sirianni, but I also get why people have been saying, hey guys, we're unsure about Sirianni. There's just a couple things he does that head coaches don't do, and you don't see, and you have to imagine that can lead to distractions. Like, it doesn't seem like him and AJ Brown have the best relationship personally. And so again, that's a lot of sideline stuff, a lot of media stuff. It's all speculation, but it does seem like that when you watch it. But then you see that team rally together and beat the Chiefs like that. You're like, all right, maybe it all just media stuff. Maybe Sirianni really is just a fiery head coach who fits that city so well, fits that team well, and they just understand how to function.
So you've been playing Madden. Have you made your own head coach ever?
Yeah, I actually just did, because Gerard Mayo got fired, so I had to make Mike Vrabel.
So I love it. So when you make a head coach in Madden, usually you have to pick between a motivational coach, a strategic coach, and a team building coach. Motivational coach is where Sirianni thrives, and that is where his it's unseen effect takes place. And that team loves him. Mm-hmm. And maybe AJ Brown doesn't, but you want every wide receiver to be a dog and a diva and a pain in the butt. Those are the guys that, make plays the way AJ Brown makes plays. But yeah, Sirianni earned my respect. Kellen Moore, good luck on the Saints. Good luck. That'll be interesting. But Kellen Moore obviously had a heck of a game plan and, said, okay, you're going to stop Barkley. That's fine. We're still gonna, play smart and play efficient, but also play aggressive. And then Vic Fangio, man. I mean, yeah. I don't know if I really have anything else to add.
Yeah,
it was just fun watching Mahomes get his butt kicked. And watching the refs, at the beginning of the game, that AJ Brown pass interference that wasn't called.
Everyone freaked out. Everyone freaked out.
Like the refs were already.
Yeah, no. And then the refs were bad during the Super Bowl for sure, but they weren't paid by the Chiefs. We at least know that.
And one final thing, as a Giants fan, I'm happy for Saquon, man. He's one of the most talented dudes in the NFL. He's also one of the best dudes in the NFL, like such a good person. Mm-hmm. And like that, I think a lot of surface level football fans don't see that. So Saquon deserves this. And the Giants did do him dirty. We definitely didn't treat him with the respect he deserved. Just the way the running back position's viewed. And I don't love the way the Giants treated him. I don't hate it either. I don't think the Giants would have ever been able to do anything with someone like Saquon Barkley, but I'm happy he went to the Eagles, got the payday he wanted, and won a ring. And also it's his hometown. He played at Penn State, and so happy for Saquon.
Moving on. Let's move on to oh man, this next topic is pretty wild if you ask me. There's been a lot of debate going on, at least in my apartment, about this, but it is quarterbacks on the move. Have a lot of quarterbacks who hit free agency this season. We have people like Russell Wilson, not really Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers was released though. Sam Darnold, Jameis Winston, Matthew Stafford, not anymore. As of today, Matthew Stafford restructured his deal with the Rams, so Matthew Stafford is staying in Los Angeles. Quick thoughts on that. Did you think Matthew Stafford was going to leave it all or no?
I did. Yeah. It felt like the groundswell was getting bigger, and he met with Tom Brady and in Montana at some ski resort or something, and it was like, oh, maybe the Raiders and Stafford. It's similar to the D-Hop thing, If Stafford said to me, "Hey, I'm looking to win a Super Bowl before I retire," then what are you doing trying to leave the Rams? The Rams are the team that team drafts really well.
Less than a quarterback away from the NFC Championship game, and I think the Rams would have beat the Commanders personally.
Yep, agreed. And so, But if he's trying to go for the bag, the Giants and the Raiders were going to be aggressive, man. They're trying to jumpstart their team. 2 years, $50 million each year. I thought something was going to happen. I can't believe that he actually signed. I'm a little shocked. Just the way it was building over the past few weeks, and maybe I was a little bit of maybe there's a bias of what I was listening to. But yeah, maybe a little shocked, but happy for him. It's the best thing for Stafford.
Agreed. I definitely felt like he was going to stay. The only person I felt like they were going to take instead of him was Darnold, potentially, just because
agreed.
I think Darnold could go into that system and play well. Sean McVay's just that good a head coach. But Matthew Stafford, in my opinion, is a 10 times better quarterback than Sam Darnold. So I think you would be downgrading at the position, but for a much cheaper price, because Kirk Cousins on the bench for the Falcons next year is going to make something around $40 to $50 million, and Matthew Stafford next season is going to make $25 million. I get why he's a little bit like, guys, I need to make a little bit more money here. Like, this is a little ridiculous. Like, that makes sense to me because I mean, if Cousins is making that much on the bench, you got to pay Stafford more.
Yeah, I don't even know if I want to talk about quarterback money. Makes me upset because of Dak Prescott's deal, so I don't even know if I want to talk about it. So.
Fair. But one of the big reasons I just wanted to ask you was I felt like out of any team Stafford was going to go to, it was the Giants who made the biggest jumps trying to get him. Did you hear that on your end, or was that just fake news?
Very aggressive. Yep. Giants, they're in Indianapolis right now. Every team is at the combine, which is where college players kind of, do some skill drills and throwing and receiving, and the teams get to interview them and all that stuff. And I guess like the first 2 days of the combine, all that was being talked about was Matt Stafford. Yeah. The Giants were meeting with his representation, but the representation of Matthew Stafford, his agent, was probably just going around trying to drum up as much excitement so the Rams would cave, and so it worked out. So,
Yeah, it's his job. He did his job well. This is going to be the first offseason with Mike Vrabel as the head coach, making a lot of those decisions, talking to a lot of those players. I'm very excited about that. Who do you think are the biggest Patriots who do you think the Patriots should target most in this free agency period with someone like T. Higgins looking like they're going to play on the franchise tag for the Bengals?
Yeah, so taking a step back here, I just want to first say I watched Elliott Wolf's press conference, and I thought he gained a lot of respect from me. I don't know if you got a chance to watch it, but kind of owning up to everything. No?
I need to watch it. I need to watch it because I was actually about to give him some hate because I like just because I'll go off on that. I just remember his last press conference he did. He basically came out and was like, "Yeah, Jalen Polk isn't who we thought he was going to be." And it's just like, dude, shut up. Like, what are you talking about?
It definitely
year. Like, leave him alone.
So it definitely has that flavor to it. But he said, I failed bringing in the right free agents and bringing in the right draft class. Like, we didn't do as well as I had hoped. He said, there's obviously some signs of excitement. He goes, but it wasn't good enough. So I need to do better.
As long as he's got to take accountability. If he's blaming the players, that is the last. Like, I get him out immediately. But yeah,
I love that Vrabel has some say. Yes. So it seems like Vrabel gets some say in all this, which I love. Because Vrabel, obviously, as an ex-player, is going to know, the guys he wants and who he doesn't want. And I don't want someone else telling Vrabel what he can and can't do. So love seeing that. As far as free agency, I want to talk first about the aggression part of it. I don't think they should be super, super aggressive in trying to draft or in trying to get like the most the best players possible, only because with the coaching staff that the Patriots have brought in, I'm pretty excited to see what they're going to do. And you might see some guys actually develop who are currently on the team. So I'm hoping, in free agency, I don't know all the free agent names off the top of my head, but obviously addressing like the offensive line obviously is important. I think addressing the defensive line is probably important as well, getting some pieces there. But also using your draft picks and also seeing what Vrabel can do as the head coach. This to me is year one of the rebuild for the Patriots. Last year was just kind of a dumpster fire. I feel bad for Drake May. I feel bad for the players. It didn't work. This year, obviously some improvement, but like if the Patriots leave the season with like 6 wins, but they lost the other 10 games, really close games, like battles, like you won't see me complaining about.
Yeah, no, I agree with that.
So that's kind of my take on it.
Yeah, I think I still think this is sadly a rebuilding year. Maybe not sadly, but just it's tough to view after the year we just had. Just because I kept saying we just got to be patient. But now we're kind of redoing a lot of things, which I get. But I went over last time we were talking. I was very 50-50 about the Gerard Mayo firing. I agree with it at the end of the day, but also I don't know what the expectation was. If he was expected to go out there and do better, that's shocking in my opinion, because that team is really bad. And I agree with you. There maybe are some players we can keep and develop, but at the same time, I've watched this same team under 2 different head coaches and many different systems just fail and just not do good. So I do want a different Patriots roster going into the season. I know you can't just cut everyone and get everyone new. That's not how it works. But at the same time, there's a lot of players that we need to get rid of. There's a lot of players that just aren't living up to how much we're paying them. And of course, the biggest thing the Patriots need to address in free agency is the offensive line. It's also, in my opinion, the biggest thing we need to address in the draft. I'm kind of happy we're not signing T. Higgins. I think I would have disagreed with that a couple months ago. I love T. He'd be awesome on the Patriots with Drake May. There's no denying it. But I don't want to go pay a wide receiver that much money if Drake May can't throw the ball. That's the truth. He needs the protection, and this is what this year taught me. The trenches are more important than anything. Every game is one of the trenches. You can have the flashiest play in the entire world from a quarterback, and I know I sound like you from a couple of years ago, and then the Giants went and did the right thing. They drafted Thibodeau
Andrew
and
Thomas.
drafted Evan
Neal.
Evan Neal, and it just sadly didn't work out with those 2 players, especially Neal, who the Patriots might sign. I heard a lot of talk about that.
All the talent in the world, the Giants just can't seem to get it out of him. So he's a big, strong kid. So
sadly, and I'm still going to go into it because I just don't know all the rules with it. The number 1 player I wanted in free agency actually just their team franchise tagged them. I was pretty bummed out about that. I don't know necessarily if that means this player can't be traded at all now, or if anything can get done. But the number 1 player I wanted was Chiefs right guard Trey Smith.
Yes. Yep. I saw that. And as a Patriots fan myself, I was bummed out. But no, now franchise tag mean he has to play this year unless the team trades.
So would you franchise tag someone to trade them? Has that happened in the past?
Nope, you just want to push out the extension one more year. It's hey, we need you to prove it one more year, or
so upsetting.
Hey, you're old enough that we don't want to sign you to a long-term deal, but we also don't want to lose you.
Yeah.
The franchise tag is a horrible deal for players.
Well, actually, I'm pretty sure he's still one of the top paid players.
Oh yeah,
enough.
so
yeah.
There's just no security in the out years. It's just 1 year and that's it.
Yeah. I guess my number 1 sign would be offensive tackle Ronnie Stanley from the Ravens. That's the number 1 player I want the Ravens, Patriots to sign. Anything to boost that offense. Under that, I have a Eagles edge rusher, Josh Sweat. He was epic all season, and if they're not going to sign him again and they have a lot of big contracts, I'd love for him to come to the Patriots. In terms of wide receivers, I thought about this a lot. I was like, man, who do I want us to sign? Because I want us to sign someone. Because I don't know if I want to pay T. Higgins.
I'll tell you who you should sign.
All that money.
See if you say the name.
I think the number 1 person we should sign is Stephon Diggs.
Oh, that's a great one. Yeah, Stephon Diggs. I would say Darius Slayton over Stephon Diggs.
Nah, Darius Slayton has never proven himself to me to be that number 1. And if we go
he's
wide
a lot
receiver,
younger.
He's a lot younger. He can develop, but McDaniels does develop wide receivers. I can say that. He's done it in the past before with different wide receivers. So there's a
Slayton
chance.
is awesome.
There's
so underrated.
Yeah,
watch highlights of Darius Slayton.
He is. I've seen rumors talking about him, but I just actually don't know a lot about him, so I didn't know if he would just come in there and be another like KJ Osborne for us last year. You know, it's like, all right.
No, I don't think so. But there's one other name, but I'll let you keep going. Who else you got?
Diggs and Chris Godwin are in terms of the free agents are the 2 I'd want to sign the most. Diggs over Godwin. I think we're gonna draft some rookie wide receiver, not with our first pick, but later in the draft, and I hope we can start to develop our core that we got, but get a veteran receiver in there who can bring a veteran.
There's a better one, Cooper Kupp.
Cooper Kupp's not a free agent. Cooper Kupp is a trade.
They're going to release him.
Are they?
No one's going to trade for him. Yeah, no one's going to trade for him because the Rams came out and said we don't want him. So the Rams are going to be like, well, we want a 3rd round pick, and the team's going to be like, he hates you guys. Like his wife came out and said, "Screw you."
Yeah, no, basically, yeah. His wife did. Yeah, no. All right, Cooper Kupp would be my number 1. I was just talking free agents. Yeah, Cooper Kupp's my number 1. I was just talking like purely people we would just sign to a cheap contract for 1 year.
Yeah.
Because Cooper Kupp we'd have to pick up a contract unless, of course, other things happen.
Stefan's coming off an injury too. That's the other part
Yeah,
that scares me about Diggs.
no,
I think
I agree.
Stefan's a cowboy. I think he's going to go play with his brother.
I agree.
It's
I can see that happening too. I can see that happening too. And I don't love those two wide receivers personally. Like I don't Diggs and Godwin. Like we just need a veteran presence in that room, in my opinion, to help those younger guys out. Like Jalen Polk, like Douglas, like Javon Baker. Kayshon Boutte had quite a year for us, but all of these guys are not number ones. And they're great players, and I love them, but they're just not number ones. As much as I would want them to be. Gosh, if one of them shows up next year as a number one, I'll shut up happy. But yeah. And then in terms of players who are not free agents, there's two I had in mind. One being Cooper Kupp, and then the other being Joe Flacco.
Great. I love Flacco. Yeah. Bring him in. Let him be that backup. Even though Brissett gets a lot of hype from Drake May. Drake May talks so highly of Brissett.
A lot of people really like Brissett. And what I've seen from Brissett, he's a great leader. He's a great locker room presence. He's a great guy to get that locker room together, get everyone behind Drake May. He's a humble dude. He's such a good dude. We really put him out to just die, it felt like, at the beginning of this season. And he played I can't say he played well for us. I'd love to, but he played for us and he made it happen. So I love Brissett. If we keep Brissett just for the presence, if Drake May likes him that much, all on board. But a Patriots Joe Flacco jersey sounds like the best thing I could ever own in my life.
Great Christmas gift or a great birthday gift for your March birthday coming up here.
Yes, exactly. I would Joe Flacco Patriots jersey sounds like so much fun to own.
Yeah, I might have to get one of those too.
Right? It would just be so great. I love Joe Flacco.
How's it going, everybody? The NFL is just always moving. And of course, we record the episode 3 days later or so is everyone's talking about the new free agents. And so I just wanted to give quick updates because, of course, you just heard me say I'm really excited for the Patriots to maybe get players like Ronnie Stanley or Chris Godwin. And, of course, we didn't get any of those players. But I'd still say we had a pretty good offseason so far, at least. We're still in the middle of it. But I just wanted to quickly talk about the players we did sign so far so this podcast doesn't seem so dated. We did sign, probably the biggest signing we had was Milton Williams. Milton Williams is now actually the highest paid Patriot in Patriots history, which is really cool and also really scary. This is somebody who hasn't had a lot of career starts, but has just been on an upward trajectory. He's only about 25 years old, of course, coming from the Eagles. I think the plus side is that he's young and that he's on an upward trajectory as a player, and he looked really, really good this past offseason, especially during the playoffs and in the Super Bowl. The cons are, of course, is that he had a lot of help there. You know, having players like Jalen Carter right next to you and having that Vic Fangio defense can help a player out quite a bit. So to come to New England, get that higher contract, and we want him to produce from day one might be a bit of a stretch. I hope it all works out. I hope this ends up being a great signing, but I'm just not positive right now. Although free agency is just about being optimistic, so I'm excited about it, but also I saw that contract and I saw how much we signed him for. I was a little bit like, all right, that's a lot of money. Probably going to my favorite signing we've made so far. It is the Robert Spillane signing. This guy is incredible. He is an absolute bullet. He is a linebacker. Hope we keep Juwan Bentley so we can pair him and Juwan Bentley back there and just stop the run finally. This guy is awesome. If you look at his career, again, an upwards trajectory, whereas you look at the past 2 years on the Raiders, he's been incredible. And then the couple of years before that, he was drafted in 2018. Not so great, still learning the ropes, getting there here and there. But Robert Spillane, an awesome signing. That is a name you are going to hear a ton next season for the Patriots, I promise you. The next signing we got is another signing that I really like. It is Carlton Davis from the Lions, cornerback. We traded either Marcus Jones or Jonathan Jones. I always mix the two up to the Commanders, and so now we kind of needed help with our cornerback position. So now we have Christian Gonzalez and Carlton Davis back there to intercept the ball and stop wide receivers, which I'm very excited about. Carlton Davis is an incredible player. He's a really good number one cornerback, but he's an amazing number two cornerback. So having Christian Gonzalez as a number one, him as a number two is just going to be deadly, I feel like. My only fear is he's just injured. He hasn't only played 4 games a season, but closer to about 14 to 15 games a season. He usually misses some here and there. So I hope he can stay healthy. Same with all the free agent signings, obviously, but really like the signing. The contract's a little big, but again, we needed cornerback help, so we got to address the help we need. And free agency is time to overspend money, of course. Moving to the offense, we signed offensive lineman Morgan Moses from the Jets, I'm pretty sure. He's been moving around a lot, 34 years old. He's an older player for sure. But I like the signing a lot. You know, I hope he can stay healthy. I hope he has the same level of productivity that he's had over the last couple of years, because when he does, he's awesome. And if he does stay healthy, that right side for Drake May is now very protected with Morgan Moses and Michael Onwenu on that side. It's just the left side he's got to worry about now. And as of right now, the only wide receiver we have signed is Mac Hollins. This is a very underwhelming signing, or maybe one that could really work out. I'm not so sure. I would be a little bit more excited if he was a little bit younger, 31 years old. You know, you're kind of at the downwards of your career as an NFL player, sadly. If he was younger, I would feel a little bit more optimistic about this, as Mac Hollins had his best season under Josh McDaniels for the Raiders 2 years ago. But again, that was only like 400 yards and like 5 touchdowns, which 5 touchdowns, you know, are good. He had about 5 touchdowns last season, and that's something the Patriots would need. But I was hoping for more of a wide receiver one, and that is definitely not Mac Hollins. At this point in time, I really want the Patriots to sign Cooper Kupp, even though I know he's older and injured, and there's a lot of issues that come with Cooper Kupp. But we just need, I feel like, a veteran presence that has been a number one in that wide receiver room. And, you know, I hope we draft a rookie this year that can turn into a number one, or maybe even Demario Douglas or Jalen Polk can really form into that number one wide receiver role. But I want someone like Cooper Kupp, because we don't need him to run down the sideline. You have Demario Douglas and Kayshon Boutte for that. We need someone in the middle of the field to help Drake May and just help all the wide receivers. And, you know, having Hunter Henry and Cooper Kupp in the middle would just be great for a rookie, or I guess a sophomore quarterback now still developing.
But yeah, those were all of the big free agents or potential trades the Patriots could make this offseason to make me happy. There's a lot of players we could take early in this draft. Jumping into our next topic real quick, just talking about some quick draft stuff coming up, because genuinely, Billy and I have been very busy. We usually like to pay attention a little bit more to some of these players in the draft. We just haven't had a ton of time to, but we know a couple of these names. We know the quarterbacks, and we kind of know where some people are picking. In terms of the Patriots, though, and their draft pick, I'd love to see the Patriots take someone like Travis Hunter or who's the Abdul Carter. But I just don't know if they're eventually going to fall to us. It's kind of tough to tell where they're going. But I think at number 4, we're kind of safe to start looking at Mason Graham or Tetairoa McMillan. And again, Travis Hunter still gets mocked to us from time to time. I would love it if he played wide receiver personally over corner. I don't know if he can play both in the NFL. It's a hot topic right now. I think he keeps saying he can, but I don't think you really can do that. You can't take that many snaps and run that much for an entire
you're going to cut your career in half.
Yeah. You're going to get injured. Bad things are going to happen. But Mason Graham, I think, would be the number one person I want the Patriots to take. I'm all in on building the offensive line for Drake May and nothing else.
You guys, as Patriots fans, and I'm excited about the Patriots, so you might see me wearing a Patriots shirt or jersey here in the future. What we want is Jason Dart to become popular. Right? Everyone go out and get Jason Dart stock up, because
he's the perfect Giants quarterback.
He is. You're absolutely right. But let's hope we don't do that. Maybe, you know what, if we do it, we'll have faith, because Dable obviously picks Josh Allen. And so, you know what? And so did Joe Shane. They were both there. But Jackson Dart, or Jason Dart, I think it's Jackson Dart.
I'm not sure. I think it's Jackson.
If his stock goes up, the Patriots at the 4 spot can have a nice bidding war with the Jets and the Raiders and have them both fight to trade up. And then you just go back to 6 or 8, still get your player, and you might even get a first-round pick next year.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying, the Patriots, it should all be about trading back. These quarterbacks are going to be highly valued because of the importance of that position. And some of these teams trying to jumpstart their progression as a team, they're going to want these quarterbacks. So we want Jackson Dart stock to scoot up, and Patriots can get in a nice bidding war and just, take the highest bidder. As for the Giants, I don't particularly care, to be honest with you.
I know, but do you think they are drafting a quarterback?
Absolutely,
absolutely,
they're drafting a quarterback. Okay. Yes, it's all smoke. Everything else is. They're going to take either Sanders or Cam Ward. If both of them are gone, I think they'll take Travis Hunter. Mm-hmm. Obviously, Travis Hunter is just a super talented guy, and wherever he plays, even let's say both of them go off the board, and let's say you bring in Kirk Cousins throwing to Travis Hunter and Neighbors. Mm-hmm. That's still an offense. So I think unless let's say, I think it's going to be one of the 3. They're going to take Cam Ward, Shedeur Sanders, or Travis Hunter. And I think their order is Shedeur Sanders is their favorite. I think then it's Cam Ward, then it's Travis Hunter. I think that's how they feel about it.
A lot of people have Cam Ward ranked much higher just because of the physical talent that could be, similar to Anthony Richardson, which Anthony Richardson, by the way, is still younger than both of these quarterback prospects.
Yes. Yeah. Anthony Richardson's a baby, but we'll see. I think for some reason Shedeur is higher on the Giants. It just seems like they have met with him a ton of times. Mm-hmm. I've seen videos of like him and Dabes dabbing it up and hanging out. And so just feels like that's where it's going to
happen. It's going to happen, yeah.
But Patriots, man, trade back. Unless Travis Hunter falls to you.
A great example of that trading back is the Lions 2 years ago. Yeah, 2 years ago. We're sitting there and they wanted a running back. And Bijan Robinson was sitting right there to draft. And what did they do? They traded back with the Falcons to get a really high second-round pick, and they still had another first-round pick, and then they got Gibbs in the first round, and then with that second-round pick got Sam Laporta. And so it's like instead of getting one player, you traded back and got two amazing players. And, that's the example everyone wants to have happen. Of course, you hope that happens, and you never know. But I agree. If we still feel like we can get a good offensive lineman at that pick we would trade back to, more than happy to do it to get more draft capital. Just offensive line, please. Just offensive line.
Yeah, but think about this. There's 4 great players, and you guys are at the 4 spot, and I don't think any of the positions are of need for the Patriots. So, like, let's say Abdul Carter falls to them. Someone's going to aggressively trade up for him.
Well, we could use Abdul Carter. Our defense, we could use someone on that defense to actually start to get after the quarterback. It's kind of rough for sure. So Abdul Carter has been mocked to us a couple times. I wouldn't be against it. Again, I am all offensive line this season. Offensive line.
I think the Patriots are in a great spot.
Yeah,
I think at the 4 spot, they're in a great spot.
Yeah, I agree completely. And then we think Titans are taking a quarterback?
I don't know.
I think Titans are looking at Abdul Carter. I really do. I don't think they're going to take a quarterback. I think they'll sign.
That head coach is the offensive coordinator from the Bengals.
It's true.
That's like the thing that just like, I'm like...
There's no one in this class like Burrow. No one.
Yeah, I mean, I would argue... I've watched a little bit of film on Cam Ward, Shedeur, and Jackson Dart. All 3 of those guys have talent. They do. So we'll see. And they have, Cam Ward, for example, he's a monster, man. Yeah. He's built for it for sure. So we'll see. I think they're going to go quarterback again. I think it's all. I think the first 3 picks will be. I think it'll be Cam Ward, Travis Hunter to the Browns, and then Shedeur to the Giants. That would be
really. I think Browns have a higher chance of drafting a quarterback than the Titans do because the Browns can't afford any free agents.
Well, luckily for the Giants, Shedeur said he's not going to play for the Browns. Like he's come out and said, "I will not play for them."
Then Jackson Dart to the Browns.
Oh, that'd be phenomenal. That would be great, man. Patriots would be screaming at that point. Right?
Yeah, no, 100%.
Because then you get Travis Hunter and Abdul Carter falling to you. So yeah, we'll see. It'll be interesting.
Yeah, no, it's going to be an interesting draft for sure. It's so funny just because last year, I mean, it was so clearly Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, Drake May, and then Marvin Harrison Jr. Honestly, like everyone knew those 4 were going to go. It's funny that this season is really this year is really like, how is this? Who's going to do this? But I think that'll do it for us here today. Always a pleasure to sit down and talk some football with you. I just want the Patriots to rebuild the offensive line. I have all the faith in the world in Drake May. I have all the faith in the world in Mike Vrabel. I don't love Elliott, but I'll put my eggs back in that basket for a season. But I just hope offensive line.
Agreed.
All right, dude. Well, appreciate it. Appreciate you joining me. I'm sad. You're not as interested in the Giants draft pick, but also I very much understand.
We'll see how it goes. I got my eggs in different baskets this year, but yes.
No, completely. Well, all right, guys. Have a great day.